The countdown continues as the Green Bay Packers have won 3 in a row. That's right, 3 games in a row, defeating the Kansas City Chiefs last week. A controversial call. Was it pass interference? We're not really sure, but we know that Patty Mahomes sure is throwing the temper tantrums as of late because he's just a little sissy-wissy football bitch. It's Dudes with Brews on a Porch.
Cue it. Cue it up.
You're about to hear the greatest show of your life.
Dude.
Dudes with Brews on a Porch with Rob and Drew.
Here we are.
What we're
Robert,
doing in post.
Drew, Dudes with Brews on a Porch. It's a Monday night. The Packers are gearing up to play against the New York Giants. We'll see what happens for a little bit.
I'm not going to count the Giants out yet.
They're like, what? They've won 4 games this year?
It's only 2 shy of us,
Yeah, but
but our schedule looks good for the rest of the year. So I don't want to jinx it.
I am drinking the Black Fox 2023 rendition from Fox River Brewing Company. Each and every year around Black Friday, they release a Black Fox variant. It is a Russian Imperial Stout, barrel-aged, limited release. So you can only get this in a couple of places. Oshkosh or Appleton, Wisconsin. Very limited and very, niche to the Wisconsin area, I guess. Barrel-aged vanilla Imperial Stout. It is 10.2 on the ABVs, 34 on the IBUs. 'Tis the season of the barrel-aged stout, and I got a good amount of them, so I'm going to be drinking a lot of these this month. It's black like my soul. It's got that delicious whiskey or bourbon smell to it. Let's see if it's got.
Is bourbon is whiskey? Yeah, it's just
it's like a type
aged in a specific type of barrel or something, right?
I believe so. Yes, there's like rye and then there's bourbon. I don't know.
Not dudes with whiskey on a porch, I suppose.
Bourbon Bros. But there was an episode called that. You weren't on it. Sorry. But anyways, it has definitely it has the stout taste to it. So it's got like that coffee-esque sip and taste.
Do stouts normally have a little bit of a vanilla background to them?
Yeah.
I don't know if that's what it is, but they have a creamy kind of mouthfeel towards the end. If they're sweeter, on the sweeter side, I always think vanilla.
This has, you're right. It does. It has like a coffee taste to it. You get a little bit of the barrel. It's not as upfront in your face, packing the punch of the whiskey barrel as I would like, but it's there. It's got that tint. It's got that little burn to it. But 10.2 of these is actually kind of low. Usually they, I think, are around the 13 to 15% ABV. So I don't know how long it was aged in the barrel. I think usually it's at least a year or so. So it's not bad.
Does it measure up to the 2022 Black Fox?
I don't know. I'm pretty sure I had it, but I don't remember what it tastes like. So I bought 2 cans of these. So one can I might just hang on to till next year.
Yeah. Well, one of the issues with drinking beer is forgetting how it tastes, because it's a memory retardant. It elapses your ability to.
What did you call me?
Let's not get there that quick.
What are you drinking?
Courtesy of Trustworthy Brewing Company, and when I say courtesy, I mean free. I mean, they handed it to me and said, "Do this on your podcast." I was at the brewery the other day.
Dude, what the fuck?
I'm drinking Alpenglow IPA.
How many beers have
This
you
is
bought on this show? How many beers have you paid for on this show?
it's I feel like I could count it. I could count the amount on my extremities, the fingers and toesies, and I'd still have a pinky left somewhere.
Yeah,
Uh,
absolutely.
yeah, are you resentful of
I
that?
kind
Like
of.
you should be. You absolutely should be.
I'm kind of upset because free beers, you're getting free beers left and right. I have to fight for the free beers. My God.
You know what? I went down there. I got. You know what? I'll talk about that in a sec. Let me take a sip. Let me read this. Because we didn't find much on this. I haven't had this beer. It's Citra hops and Simcoe hops. It's an India Pale Ale. That's what the I stands for, just in case anybody was wondering.
Yep.
We knew that. We've known that for a long time. 100% sure on that for years. But it says here, this is just a little description on the can. It says, whether you're catching that first light on the mountains in the crisp morning air or watching the sun dip behind the hills with its final burst of color, Alpenglow IPA is the perfect adventure partner, big aroma and taste from the Citra and Simcoe hops to bring this moment of zen together. Keep looking up.
All right. I like it.
All right, so let me take a little sip-a-rooney of this. I just said sip-a-rooney. That just came out.
5.9 ABV. It says 0 on the IBUs.
5.9 is pretty low for a IPA.
Yep.
It smells really good. I can smell the Citra, and I don't know what Simcoe smells like. I just know I don't know. I like normally Simcoe hops make my tummy go yum yum in my rumbly tummy.
Yeah. We're both picking the lower alcohol volumes of the varieties that we have. And we don't even
got a little
plan this. We're just like in sync.
Yeah, we're just in sync with each other. Yeah, we're like JT and one of the other ones.
Lance Bass.
Yeah, that's the guy I was thinking of actually.
Which
We're
one?
so in sync that you came up with the name that I was trying to think of.
Which one's which?
Lance Bass is the one with the big forehead.
I know who they are.
Eyebrows and a frosted tip. Oh, who's who?
Yeah, like who are you?
I'm clearly I'm Lance Bass.
Okay.
I think you're Joey actually.
I'll take that. Fatone?
Joey
Absolutely.
Fatone,
yeah,
man.
Joey Fatone's the man.
Guy. Yeah, that's a good guy to be.
Mm-hmm.
So this is up front. It's got a sweet taste to it. It's a little bitter. Midway. The flavor holds on. I mean, I can taste the Citra hops pretty well, and the Simcoe always comes through on the back end for me. If I'm understanding correctly, which I'm just going based on the beers that have Simcoe in them and what the similarities are between them. But Michael Clark gave me this beer. He works over there at Trustworthy. And I went down there the other day. I've taken a little hiatus from Tony's. So I went down. I didn't drink. I only drank on Thursday. Well, technically, I guess I did have some gin on Tuesday at a work gathering. There was a work party, and we all got drunk on the roof.
Nice. Sounds safe.
Yeah. There's sushi, and it was poolside. It was the roof pools and jacuzzi.
Yeah, that's right.
And,
that high life in California, where you can do those things in December.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I wore a sweatshirt, but it's a little brisk for my taste. But yeah, I had some shots of tequila that night and then some gin. But then I took a hiatus from drinking. Thursday, I went down to work on a script I'm working on. I knew Michael Clark would be working there. He's a writer as well. Played some bingo instead. I decided they were playing bingo that night. Played. Won the first game. Never won a game of bingo in my life. So I won my drink free. And then as I'm leaving, he hands me this. So I got 2 free beers that night.
Look at you. Living the life. I'll tell you what I did this past weekend. And you kind of already know about it. I got a phone call early on Thursday. I was at work. And they're saying, Grams isn't looking so good. She's got sepsis. She has meningitis. She's in the hospital. You might want to come. And I was like, okay, where to? Oh, Fargo, North Dakota. Is okay, 7.5 hour drive. I got it. Get my brother. He comes up from Milwaukee. We make our venture out, right? go there, spend Thursday, Friday. Well, Thursday we got there pretty like late-ish. So
Well, it's a 7.5 hour drive. Yeah.
right.
Was this in the weather, or was the weather on the way back?
The weather was so Thursday we drove to Minnesota. My grandparents live on like the west side of the state. They live an hour away from Fargo, North Dakota. They live in Minnesota. So we drove to there, but it's still a 7.5 hour drive either way, which is weird, but that's just how it goes. Stayed there. Next morning, went to Fargo. Hung out with saw my grandma. Not doing well. Didn't recognize who I was. She's got swelling on her brain. She can't move. She can barely eat. She can barely speak. It's not looking good. But then they're like, oh, it looks like she's actually doing better than yesterday. I was like, oh well, because she looks pretty awful today. And then whatever. We go back to Minnesota. And then that's when the weather happened. So on from Friday night to Saturday, this weather's going on. 50-mile-an-hour winds, bunch of snow. Shit's blowing all over the place. And then my family, my mom was up there. My uncle, my grandpa was obviously there too. I guess it's not obvious, but he was there. And they're like, well,
Let's call it obvious.
Yeah. They're like, we might not go because of the weather. And then me and my brother are like, well, we're here to see grandma. We're here to, spend time with her while we can. So me and my brother make the drive to Fargo. It's only an hour, right? It's supposed to be, I think, an hour and 12 minutes according to the GPS. We get on the highway. Well, the back roads are full of snow, full of ice. Of course, you have your standard douchebag in a truck zipping by you, thinking they're the coolest thing. We get on the highway going towards North Dakota. It is awful. It's probably one of the worst weather I've ever experienced while driving. Shit's blowing all over the place. At one point in time, there's flares lit by police all the way down the highway for like probably a mile. Flares, which is wild to me. Well, then we see why. There's a semi in the fucking ditch, right? And then like a little bit later, there's literally 3 cars to my right in the ditch, another 4 to my left in the ditch, and we're driving in the heat of this. I can't see 2 feet in front of me at any given moment, and it's there's semis all over the place. It's nerve-wracking. Alongside of me is my 20-year-old brother. I'm 33. He's 20. And he is living his best life in this moment, where I'm white-knuckling it, saying, I hope we don't end up in a ditch. I just want to get there. I want to feel like I have some sort of safety in my life. My brother is playing Travis Scott he's a rapper, playing his music, bumping, dancing around, doing like the hand things, like he's some hot shit. And I'm like, to be 20 years old and to think like the situation we're in is just fine. And I was like,
yeah, it's
just wild.
I don't think you've ever been that way. I don't think I've ever been that way for that kind of stuff, especially in a car.
Yeah.
I recall once driving on Van Dyne Road.
Mm-hmm.
Going to maybe Oshkosh, maybe there's a little backwoods, what's it called? Gillies? Or no, it's not Gillies. It's like do you know what I'm talking about? The little
Artie and Ed's?
It's like a liquor. No, it's not a bar. It's like it starts with a G, I swear.
Gilmore's?
No. I would McGlintock something.
I don't know.
It's either way. I wish I could get them some publicity because they're out there in the sticks. But there's this little like, it's not necessarily. It's like almost like a baits shop with a pool table. Geezy's, there it is. Geezy's. Goddamn Geezy's. We used to go out there and shoot pool.
In Van Dyne.
Yeah, just go out to Geezy's and shoot some pool. Get a microwaved pizza or whatever. Like that you could buy beers from the cooler, like in a can, and drink them on the spot. And there's like a freezer with pizzas, and they'd cook it for you there. But it was really just like a it was something out of like a Stephen King novel. Where fishermen would go in and tell tall tales and have a beer at a non-existent bar, and there's like a little video VHS section, even though it was 2010 or whatever. But we were driving out there, and man, there was fog like I've never seen before. Haven't seen it since. And it like you couldn't even see the front of your hood,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like there's deer out there, and I remember being like, why are we doing this? Why? And once we got a certain ways in, it was like, well, we're over halfway to Geezy's. It's probably safer to go there than it is to turn around and get back out of this.
Right.
Because if we turn around on the road, who knows who's coming? You cannot see anything. Now that was one of the more treacherous drives in my life, and there was no snow involved, no slipperiness, no 20-year-old playing rap music.
God. Well, then
I believe it was rap. You said yes.
yeah, rap. I go to turn it off too, right? Or to turn it down at least. So at least I can like focus a little bit. And what are you doing? What are you doing? And I'm like, look out the window, dude. So we go from that to we go from just like I don't know how you would.
Does your younger brother drive?
He does, but he didn't drive at all this whole trip. I drove the entire time.
It's interesting to me because I remember like we used to go up to Munising where my family, goes and stuff. And when we would go up there in the winter, I remember like as a kid being in the back seat and my parents would be listening to music and there'd be specific parts of the trip where my dad would turn the music off and go like, I need to concentrate.
Yeah,
Be quiet back there or whatever. And it's like, I remember when I got my license, before I'd made any long drives through anything like that, I was like, hearing with the windows up in a blizzard doesn't actually, I don't think
it doesn't
like
doesn't really help.
it doesn't do anything, but then like when you actually drive in a blizzard and like you just need to turn off the music so you can concentrate on whether or not you feel the wheels spinning underneath
Right.
you. It is a weird thing that you have to experience before you understand, I think.
So we got there safe. I booked a hotel because I was like, I'm not driving back in this, right? And it's just weird. It's just like a weird like spectrum of like reflection of life that I experienced this weekend. Obviously, earlier this year, I dealt with death. I looked at it. I saw it with my dad, right? First real like close relative that I've ever lost in my life. Now we get back to and it happened around this time, right? We're getting close to a year since my dad's been gone. Last year during the holidays was not good between sickness, my dad going in the hospital. I never got that last Christmas with my dad. So we're around the same time. We're going to see my grandma. It's not looking good. It really isn't. So I go, that's in my mind. This familiar feeling of going to the hospital, of this just kind of fear and just anxiety that is in me of what am I going to see when I walk in this room, and then there's just this 20-year-old just bumping, doing like you would think he's a rapper almost, singing the songs, and then it's like okay, and then to go into the room where my grandma is. Granted, she's 88 years old. She's no spring chicken. She's got essentially like blood that's full of bacteria flowing through her body. And then, when I have these images of growing up and see my grandma, I only saw her a couple times a year, but she's always walking around. She's always been independent. She's always been taking care of herself. So, and I see her essentially like dwindled down to this. She can barely speak. She can barely process what you're saying in that moment. It takes her like 30 seconds just to register what you said and create a response. And the response isn't always coherent or clear either. And she can't get up. She can't walk. She still hasn't been able to get out of the bed and walk. She's not eating. She got to enjoy a Coca-Cola. And she was like so happy when she got that first sip of Coca-Cola. And I was just like, it's just like, it really makes you think about life, about how in a second, everything literally can change. Like you and me, we get up go to work, we take care of ourselves. We're relatively healthy. We're doing these things like that could change in an instant to the point where we're just like rejoicing that we finally get a little sip of a Coca-Cola. And that's what the motivation of the day was. She's like, I'm going to have a Coke today. And she did. It just,
yeah, but I think that, I think she meant Pepsi. I think she wanted Pepsi.
No, she said Coke. She said Coke.
I know, but she's confused. She's got bacteria in her. Like, the addled brain of somebody. They accidentally they think Coke is good, but they really want Pepsi.
Well,
we don't need to get we don't need to get bogged down in this.
I made the joke to her too. I was like, don't worry, Grandma. I was like, we got the original Coke too. There's a little cocaine in there, and she's like, like she.
Yeah.
I made her laugh a couple times. We cracked some jokes, and the last time we saw her when we were there, we had a conversation. My cousins were in the room with me too, and she was able to talk, and she was telling stories, talked about kind of like the old days a little bit, and then when she kept talking to my cousin, and she kept calling, like saying like. Talking about like way back when, she kept telling my cousin, "Oh, it was before you were born, when we lived in North Dakota." And I was like, "When did you live in North Dakota?" Well, she was talking about like before you were born, meaning before her mother was born. So she kind of at that time, it was a long day, and she was like talking to my cousin, but she thought she was talking to my aunt. So it was,
which was still not terrible.
No,
because it's like you're still getting to see her look back down memory lane. I remember when my grandma Phillips passed, and she was in the hospital, and like she never talked about my grandpa on that side. I didn't know anything about him, and like all of a sudden, like it was like a floodgate opened, and I got some information about this person that has a lot to do with why I'm in this world, and had, like, it's like it was kind of like this thing, like you don't ask about that guy, and it's just it's interesting how like when you get to sit with somebody when they're going through it, because you're going through losing somebody, they're going through losing themselves,
right.
And they're grasping at their past, and they're willing to talk about things that maybe they wouldn't have talked about before, or maybe you're just willing to ask the questions that you always thought you had time to ask. I don't know what it is. I don't know how I got there with my grandma, but it's like you can take that at face value or whatever, where it's like she was still just talking about her life, and
Right.
it is unfortunate that she maybe didn't understand who she was talking to, but at least you got the story out of it.
Yeah. And we spent a good amount of time there. And then like on Saturday, so my mom and grandpa and uncle ended up coming in on Saturday and facing the weather. I don't know if it was as bad when they got there, but as opposed to when we arrived. Hung out with them a little bit. Eventually they went back to my grandma's house, and then my cousins, my brother and I, like, I was like, "Oh, we're in Fargo. There's this brewery that I drink a lot of their beer at home, Drecker Brewing Company." And I was like, I noticed it's only like a 12-minute drive. You want to go? And I don't know if that's a bad.
This is where you have a problem, and you need to address something. Blizzard conditions, dying grandma. There is a brewery down the street.
You gotta
also, hey, you know how you cope. You cope. It's like you cope how you're gonna cope, and you steer into that skid even if there's a blizzard on top of it.
And then my cousin, my cousin.
What is your dog doing? Look at Barry. What is he doing?
He's thirsty. The water dish is
empty.
And
he just scratches inside his water dish.
Yep, that's what he does. Or he stands at it and then he stares at you.
I didn't mean to derail, but I haven't.
Yeah.
Let's give the listeners a little taste. Barry is scratching inside of his water dish because he's apparently gotten smarter than he used to be. And then Phil is chilling under some covers on the couch. At last I saw. I don't know if he's still up there.
Still there, but so we ended up going, and this brewery's fucking awesome, man. It's Drecker Brewing, so that it's all like Viking themed, like old school Viking, not Minnesota Viking. But it's really big and open. It's got like a castle feeling to it. They got some pinball machines. They got some good ass beer, and then they built this place called Bruhalia or something. That's now connected to it, and it's like
Brewhalla, probably because
Brewhalla,
like Valhalla.
Yeah, Brewhalla, and it's got like 2 levels, so each level has another.
Is there
like
a slide?
I wish.
Into a ball pit.
Each level has another like bar that serves the Drecker beer with it. But then there's like a marketplace in there too. There's restaurants that you can get. It's like an outdoor market, but inside they're selling CBD treats for your dogs. They got Christmas crafts and all this. It was fucking awesome. And I was like, this is cool. This is nice. And it was a good way to kind of like just
unwind
unplug
a little bit,
yeah,
decompress.
yeah. And then I got to see my cousins who I don't get to see very often. These are cousins that I get along really well with and enjoy hanging out with them. So it was nice to just kind of talk and all that. And of course, my brother, he's like, "Oh, I want a beer. I want a beer." So then I had to get him one. And then
he's 20. What does
yeah,
I guess when in Fargo, when in Minnesota.
Well, Fargo's in North Dakota, but
I don't know which one.
I was in Fargo. We were in Fargo at this time.
This is okay. All right.
But then
I can't speak now. Yeah, when in Fargo, I think the drinking age is 12, so you're good.
Yeah, and I had to, of course, I had to buy that for him, right? And then
does the kid have a job?
He does. He's in the Army Reserves too. So whatever. We go back to the hospital, see Grams for the last time in the weekend because I was like, we gotta leave early tomorrow morning. I'm not looking to, I want to be home as soon as I can. And when you have a 7.5 hour drive, as soon as you can is within, it's not that soon.
You're looking at the afternoon for
right,
sure.
Absolutely. So we went to the hotel, kind of a sketchy hotel, not the worst hotel, not the best hotel, but it we open the doors or open the window and we get this beautiful view of the Golden Arches that is McDonald's and their drive-thru. And then I said, "Oh, there's a McDonald's over there. You want to go?" And my brother's like, "Yeah." He bought himself food there though.
I was gonna say who bought who.
Well, I paid for the hotel room.
I mean, I will say when I moved or when I came out here, I stayed in a hotel that first year ago now.
Yeah.
2 years ago now.
Mm-hmm.
When I took that week trip out here, and outside my window was Jack in the Box.
Okay.
And you know what? Breakfast, good. It's good. It's
lunch?
Worth it. No, I wouldn't go there for lunch. That was one of the things that I found out now is I always take, if you give me a 50-50 shot, I will always pick the wrong one,
Mm-hmm.
right? If you give me 4 cardinal directions, then you're like, not only will I pick the wrong one, I will pick the wrong one, the one that is so wrong. Because when I moved out here and I was staying at this place, it was like, I had 4 directions I could walk. I was on a crossway of streets. I decided to take San Fernando to what would be the west. So let's say I'm not 100% sure it goes east to west, but we're gonna say west. I had to walk like 1.5 miles to get to the first restaurant. I was starving. And now I've been back over in that area, and I realized that the Empire Center, if I would have just gone right, it was like 2 blocks away. It was everything you could imagine is in this parking lot. Like you got everything from Olive Garden and Panda Express and all the fast food stuff to things that are local to California and all that. I chose to walk 1.5 miles in the dark in a city I didn't know to get to a Mexican restaurant that everything was in Spanish. I've come to find out now that it is probably a front for something that's not, like, I told a buddy of mine that I went there that's from Sun Valley, which is where.
Didn't you watch Better Call Saul or Breaking Bad?
Yeah. He was legitimately like, you went, like, he's like, I want to go to this place that you're telling me you went to the first time you ate in California. And we went there, and it was like, he's like, dude, I cannot believe you went to, like, he's like, I can't believe you walked to this place. Of all places you could go, this place, it's in the middle of an industrial park. The sign is hidden. It's like, he's like, they're not making their money on their Mexican food here. Like, there's nobody's ever there. It's hey, it was delicious though.
I was gonna say, was it good?
It was authentic. Yeah, their salsa was amazing. but it was like literally like nobody speaks English there. There's no like I just had to point at the menu and go like, huh? I don't know what it is.
Yeah. Con huevos. That means with eggs.
Okay. I but yeah, so I don't know why I got on that subject about picking the wrong thing, but I always pick the wrong way, the wrong route, the wrong whatever.
Well, I mean,
Um,
to get to California, you really picked the wrong route as well because you arrived with a destination in mind, but it just wasn't real.
yeah. But that led to my wrongness often leads to something amazing, which is I got a great apartment out of that. I
Right.
got a great Mexican meal out of my choice in the, over the other way. But I've experienced some minor loss comparatively to what you're going through or might be going through soon, unfortunately. My
Well,
roommate has moved away.
yours has?
One of my roommates has moved out. Marcus is gone.
Why?
He went back to San Jose. He's going to school, and it's cheaper to live with your parents, and when you're going to school and you can't work full time, and
Yeah. Well, that's sad.
um, so today he moved out, and yeah, you know what? It was I don't know if I wasn't facing the facts of it or whatever because we don't have a roommate lined up, so that's a stressful situation.
Yeah.
We've got a month to find somebody. But it was kind of like, oh, Marcus is leaving. All right, I'll give you a hug. See you later. But as soon as the door closed and like he didn't come back because he came back in like 3 times. It's like I just want to say bye, you guys. I love you guys. I miss you. I'm gonna miss you guys so much. Because like we have a pretty tight knit little group here in our apartment.
Mm-hmm.
And then he didn't come back, and it was like me and Al were sitting there. We were having breakfast, and it was like, man, it's really silent in here, isn't it? It's like a vacuum in here. It was like we're sitting in the unknown right now because we don't know like the odds of continuously getting good roommates is that's a low percentage chance that we're gonna get a roommate that actually like is respectful and not kind of a dick about things. And I hear horror stories about people and their roommates
Yeah.
and yeah, and so it's like, but we're kind of in a position where we got to take the first person that comes around that can financially, meet passes all the financial goals or whatever,
Right.
like the checks and all that stuff, because I can't. It's gonna almost double my rent if I have to pay for half this place. It's 3 bedrooms, so with 2 guys, and I have the cheapest rent here, so. Where I'm living in that precarious position, but that's lesser of a thing than the fact that it's like we didn't see Marcus that much at the end. He started to kind of shut himself off to us and be back in his room. But yeah, it was still it definitely was like crazy to like when he left, the feeling that it left both of us. We both like took a nap today. I think we were depressed.
Maybe. Would you be
Let's
willing?
say sad. We'll say sad, not depressed, because that depression is not to be mixed with sadness.
Would you be willing to
Do a polygraph? Yeah,
sell? Okay.
I think I'm sad.
Would you be willing to post feet pics for money?
Oh yeah, I've talked about this recently with one of
Really?
my coworkers. Yeah.
Okay.
I just don't think anybody would want my feet because they're pretty gnarly. I've
Hey, people
broken
like gnarly things,
bones
man.
down there. There's I got a crack in my big toenail that just seems to stay there. I'm taking multivitamins and multi minerals and phytonutrients now. I didn't drink for a week, basically. It's like I really tried to. It's Tuesday was the gin night, and then 1 pint on Thursday. So that's pretty good for me to only have 1 pint for 6 days.
That's pretty good.
I'm trying to get back into I had a call with a guy in London, a writing mentor.
Mm-hmm.
That's gonna help me with my prose and
In
with my
London?
yeah. I went to London to get my feedback. Those London Brits, they know how to.
Is it that kid that you used to play Beat Saber against?
No, it's not. I wonder if he knows Tall Poopy Pug. I'll ask him next time. Uh,
What's his name?
Tall Poopy Pug. Uh,
That's
and
funny.
now I wouldn't even be able to hold a candle. I played Beat Saber the other day. Just whew, I'm bad at it. I've gotten bad. I lent my MetaQuest to a guy that lives in the buildings I work at, so
You
I had to
lent it to
update
him?
everything. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, I just borrowed it to him
Why? Why would you do that? Come on, you
because he wanted to
fucker.
try. He wanted to try Beat Saber.
I didn't mean to call you a fucker. The Packers,
Oh, is something bad happening in the game?
they're playing like shit, dude. Against the fucking Giants.
It's all right. It's first quarter. I just
Second.
need Reed to go off for my fantasy
Well,
team. If he could put up 40, that'd be great.
I need Saquon to do some things. But second drive, 4 and out. Both.
Oh, that's okay. Let's not talk about it. Let's not talk about that.
Wow.
So this week has been I've figured out some problems that I was having with the script for the short
Mm-hmm.
movie. I got a gimbal. I got a gimbal now.
Yeah.
It's a steady cam for your phone.
Nice.
So you can do panning shots and tilt, like you can
Oh yeah, yeah.
really it's really cool. And getting some I don't want to shoot this thing on my phone, but it really does help with setting up shots and figuring out like lighting. I that's one of the biggest hurdles that I have now is figuring out how to do lighting, and I don't
Mm-hmm.
know anybody that knows how to do it, so I got to start doing some research on that. And um but yeah, man, not going to the bar for a week, it garners results.
Yeah.
You get a lot more time, a lot more time.
More
You're a
facial
lot
hair too.
sadder, you get a little sadder because you have it's like I think I do feel like I gain energy when I go out and do my little antics and my bits and I gotta spew my logic on the into the world and
Mm-hmm.
hope that people identify with it somehow, and it makes me feel like more of a human being. And without that, it's I get a little in my head.
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason. I never thought to myself, like I have beer in my fridge. I never thought about going and grabbing a beer.
That's
But I
good.
did go. I did go. Like I would like to go down to Tony's. Like I'm not gonna drink at home. I don't because I don't. I've said this for a long time, but now that I've taken a week off from going to Tony's. I think um, it's like the fact that it's like the thing that I miss is the people down there.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, it is. It's like, but I don't. I think I'm really gonna cut it back because I've gotten so much done. I read a book too. I read a book. I got the
Damn.
script all figured out. I got some shots going, some test shots and things like that. Talking to this guy in London. It's like I got a little fire underneath my chins.
You'll be on Jimmy Kimmel in no time.
Jimmy Kimmel. I mean, yeah,
That's where you have to start.
yeah, yeah.
Not
I
everyone.
actually like Jim. I actually prefer Jimmy Kimmel to Seth Meyers, say, or maybe even Jimmy Fallon,
Maybe
which I
you'll
have no problem with. I have no problem with Jimmy Fallon, but I do like Jimmy Kimmel.
maybe you can get on the Conan O'Brien podcast, and if that happens, you have to invite me.
Oh, absolutely.
I'll be your writing partner that's never written anything.
I'll legitimately just go. Here's my number. I'll give him your number, and you just say you're me. And then
Yeah,
at the end, go. Actually, Robert Phillips is an alter ego.
yeah, that's a good idea. Robert Phillips has a goatee. I have a beard.
Oh yes, yes. You said you were gonna get it in there.
A perfectly shaped beard. You're pursuing, or you're taking on that writer persona, because you got the shaped goatee. The cheekbones are chiseled and they are shaved clean, and you got the shape. You have the definition of where the hair ends and where it begins in the form of a goatee. It is.
That's the greatest way I've ever heard of goatee described. You have the definition of where the hair ends and begins in the shape of a goatee. Yes, okay.
And it's looking good. Rob, I hate to do this, but I have to cut this episode a little short. The plan here was that my young son of the age of 1 would be sleeping right now, So then son number 2 or number 1, if you're looking at order of when they were born.
Oh, I was thinking how much you love them.
No.
Look at how big this guy is.
If so Ashton's done with basketball in a couple minutes, and Carissa's got to go pick him up, and this little guy is wide awake still. Can you say hello?
He gets mic shy.
Can you say hi? Can you say hi? No, he can't. He doesn't want to say hi.
He just won't. He
Yeah.
can, he won't.
He can't say it. Bluey? We're not watching Bluey. We're watching the Packers. Okay?
Green and Goldie.
Yeah. Can you say go, Pack, go?
He's he'll get there.
He's
he'll
working
get there.
on it. He's
It's love is an acquired taste.
Yeah. He does say go. He gets like really sucked into sports. Like when it's on the TV, like he'll watch it.
I thought Carissa was looking, that's why I was waving.
Oh.
But
Yeah.
she is leaving.
We can turn Bluey. We're not gonna turn Bluey on. I'm sorry. No Bluey. All right.
Well, okay. You gotta take care of what you gotta take care of.
Yep. And you got
I'm
a
sorry
Packer game to watch,
yeah.
and that's okay. It happens. This is part of life, man. I drank half of a Black Fox. I still have half of it to enjoy during this hopefully successful Packer game. So far, it's I would say drink it. I would say sip it. I would like a little more booziness to it. I've kind of grown into that kind of person where I like the boozy taste
You
of the
like
beer.
a bang for your buck?
A little
boozy
bit,
bang
a
for
little
your buck?
bit. Yeah. So what about you?
Me, I'm gonna say I really like this. I like the taste that lingers.
Mhm.
It's great for an IPA, and honestly, I like the fact that it's a lower ABV. I'm trying to, because we talked about this last week or a couple weeks ago. I'm trying to not I want I can't, you can't drink as much when you have
Right.
when you're a lightweight like I am, and
Mhm.
so to have an IPA flavor with it's almost like a hybrid, because it's not down in that 4.6, 4.7 or whatever ABVs, but it's not up in the 7.2s either. So you can enjoy the full flavor and the hops that they use, but you don't have to you don't get drunk off one beer, so you can have two.
Exactly. I like that. Well,
Yeah. So thanks to Michael Clark and Trustworthy Brewing.
absolutely.
I'll pay for beer one of these days, maybe.
Yeah. And hell might freeze over. Who knows? As always, follow us on the socials, buy our things on TeePublic. Jonah, say bye-bye. Say bye-bye. Close enough.
Good enough. He's always poised to speak.
Oh, he's waving
He
to you.
looks like he's about to drop some stoic knowledge on us, and then he just holds.